So anyway, that was Interstellar.
Yes.
That was an hour-long conversation about it. See what I did there? I started at the end of the episode, at the beginning of the show, to like kind of mimic what happens in the film.
Right. Well, you need to do it in a way, though, that when we get to the ending, that the audience goes, "Oh, Jesus."
Well, I've given the history of the show. Pretty much that's guaranteed.
People are starting out doing that. Like let's get to that point.
Fair enough. Oh, yeah. I hate Interstellar.
Yeah, I do.
They're serious and mysterious, and no one really knows just where they go.
Even the speed of light cannot attempt to fight the power of the pull of a black hole.
Nobody knows what's inside. What are they trying to hide inside a black hole? The socks you dry your eats
Inside a black hole, all of your baby teeth.
the change you left in the cushion seat. You might be surprised to find that they're all inside of a black hole.
This was my second time watching it, and I didn't have the raw hatred that I had in the theater. There was some stuff actually at the beginning. I was like, okay, I know what I don't like about this going into it. Let's just accept that those things are there and move on, and see if we can find something out of it. And I mean, it looks nice. The special effects are fine, but yeah, the stuff that stuck out as being dumb stuck out as really dumb. And the problems are just it's one of those things I think you've talked about before. I've talked about it before, where you get angry at a movie when it's a near miss versus like it's just crap.
Yeah, I could see that.
And this is there's so much potential here. In fact, I guess initially Steven Spielberg was supposed to make this movie.
Yeah, it was battled around a lot between things, and that's why there's a lot of kind of Spielbergian things in this. Not that I could put my finger on it, but it reminds me of Spielberg a little bit.
And Christopher Nolan needs a chart to see human emotions, and that's why it's not so good in his hands.
See, one of the things I liked this upon second watching that I really resonated with Coop and Murph and the relationship they had. Like, I really it hit me this time, like hard. Like, because I think McConaughey, and this is not something that I thought I would say in my life, he's a really good actor. Well, that's dumb. But I mean, like, I think some of his kind of performances that I think are off is that I don't think I really kind of picked up what he was trying to do in the role. And the second time watching this, I'm like, oh, I think I get this character now. And some of the scenes with him and Murph, and some of the kind of the later stuff where he's like, where I thought he was just kind of overacting, I was like, oh no, this is actually really good. It's almost like a Nicolas Cage kind of thing where it's like, it's hard to see because it's like, no, that's what a person would do. We're just used to seeing what actors do, acting like people. Like, you're actually doing so good of a job that it almost looks stupid.
Yeah, well, there was some stuff, and I actually liked him less this time around. I didn't dislike him the first time I saw it, but I liked him a little bit less this time around. And there's stuff that he does that there's nothing wrong with his performance. It's all just in the script and in the movie. I do wish, and I've never said this about any of his performances before, like that he wasn't so Matthew McConaughey about it, like that he wasn't always just at this level talking. And that got a little annoying at times. Because he's hard to hear, but some of that, the problem with that is Hans Zimmer's soundtrack just beating you like a goddamn cudgel. The mix in this movie is like, I ended up putting on headphones to watch this movie. I don't know if it's my setup at home, but I remember having the same problem in the theater, that it's just like, what? I can't hear you over the sweeping score that's really demanding you feel a certain way at this time.
I had to turn my TV settings to, there's a movie setting, which I have no idea what each one does. But for the same reason that I think, and this is just kind of overheard, but I've heard that that's an IMAX thing, that when sound is mixed for IMAX, which this was basically filmed for, there's something to do with the way that they pipe the sound in, and I think that fucks the sound mixes up. Because I've heard a lot of complaints about IMAX films that the dialogue is hard to differentiate, and I think the mixing for the home video release, which that's probably not a term people use anymore, but for the thing me watch at home times is the same mix as the IMAX.
Well, that was the same complaint people had with him with The Dark Knight Rises. Like in the early screenings of that, where Tom Hardy's Bane, you could not understand him at all.
Well, I think that was IMAX as well, right?
I probably, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's the reason. I've heard that enough, and it's weird that this generally is only a complaint on IMAX movies, but also there's a certain type of movie that's IMAX, so who the fuck knows? I liked him being kind of McConaughey-y because he's a pilot, And that's that kind of Chuck Yeager, like, yeah, we're coming down from
Sure.
3,000 feet. Like, it's...
But do you think Chuck Yeager like talks like that the whole time? Like, just like, yeah, I'll have eggs over easy.
As I was watching it, I was trying to figure out what are the things that infuriated you the first time, because nothing jumped out at me. Like, the stuff that annoyed me was subtle. And I'm like, what the hell did John hate about this?
So one thing I hate, and this is...
Is it stuff?
It's stuff.
Because you were on fucking brand, son.
No, and this is not... It's weird to kind of blame the movie for this, but this is something that I found kind of irritating about it, is that, well, the world is terrible, all the food is dead and stuff. We need to go to a new planet. But there's ever any discussion about, like, what we did to get here. It's just like, these crops are dying. Now corn's going to die. Humans are blameless. Anyway, off to go be a virus on another planet.
Well, no, they blamed humans. Lithgow was pretty clear about...
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't enough for me, I guess. And then just the whole, and again, this is I'm just kind of going through it in my head.
No, please.
But the like...
I give you permission to talk on your own show.
Thank you. No, the moon landing's faked. What? What? I mean, I understand. Believe me, in the world that we're in now, I understand people like, no, science is dumb. But that was a little far. You could have just gone, we need to save money for food, or, to work on protecting what we have here. Even just the world he created, I don't understand. Like, there's no riots about food. There's apparently no military dealing with any of this stuff.
Well, I think that happened 40 years before.
Because
the movie
there's reference
started.
to stuff blowing people up or whatever.
Yeah.
And just NASA being secret was okay. Everyone knows things are terrible, but we don't want to do anything about it. Just the whole ghost thing. What the fuck with all of that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's actually probably my favorite part of the movie.
I spent the first, particularly, seeing it the first time.
Yeah.
And, I definitely just experienced this, but watching it the second time was even more bad because I know what's happening. Where you're just sitting there going, what? What? I have a ghost. Oh, it says stay. I got this binary thing. Yeah, it's not a ghost. That's dumb. No, look at this. Oh my God, it's a ghost. No, it's not a ghost. It's gravity. Let's listen to what gravity has to say. What? Why are you listening to gravity? Why is gravity giving you coordinates that it just so happen to be just a drivable distance? Like, I don't understand what's going on, where this movie's going, and then all of a sudden he's in space. Like, that whole front part was very...
Oh, see, that read to me.
I didn't. I didn't understand the whole ghost thing at all.
On first or second watching?
The second watching, since I knew what it was,
yeah,
I was more along with it, but it still didn't make a lot of sense to me. That why are you just like, no, it's this weird thing. He's telling her, like, no, it needs to be observable. You got to be scientific about it. It needs to be observable. Well, I took these notes and it's a ghost. Oh, you look at these dust things that are in this order. That's not a ghost. That's gravity. It's a weird gravity anomaly. It's clearly trying to tell us something.
Yeah.
That's a leap. That is a huge leap. To be like, no, this weird anomaly is clearly a message. Not like, oh, that's weird.
I guess I don't know. That doesn't bother me. Like, it was weird. That's why you checked it out. Like,
yeah, I guess it's just because it's so rushed. But it's so weird. But like, why would you see that and go like, oh, that's probably a code?
Well, because they've been discussing it being a code for a while now.
Yeah.
Because she originally thought it was Morse code, so he's already like kind of on point, like primed to look for coding, and seeing these linear patterns in dust. He also saw the way the coin fell, so it, like, gravity was weird, and then like the way the kind of striations in the dust happen.
But I just don't understand why you would leap to that's clearly a message. Like, it felt, rather than like, what's this scientific thing, and it's coordinates, let's hop in the car and go. And I think it's also just irritating to me because then that's this pretense to like get them to NASA, the secret NASA, where
it was not a pretense. It's
well,
yeah.
At that time,
yeah.
it's a pretense, and they're like, oh, well, you had no idea you were even still around. Fly our mission, please.
Yeah,
it's been 2 minutes since we've met you, and we desperately need a pilot somehow. Just again, like, it's all just pell-mell coming at you that it's just like, wait, what? Oh, now they're in space.
Well, so some of this I like, so the pacing thing we're talking about a little bit off air, but like, this is my main gripe with the movie, where I want it to simultaneously be shorter and longer. Mm-hmm. I want the first act and we're totally out of order, the last act to be longer. Like, the first act, the setup, I want more focusing on how he gets to NASA. Mm-hmm. I like the speed from Murph freaking out, and I love his performance there of him, like, being frustrated to be like, I don't want to say goodbye to you like this. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I love that it's basically him driving away crying, which is a beautiful shot, and then just he's in the ship. I like that we didn't go through a fucking training montage. I thought that bit was efficient storytelling. But like, getting to him leaving, yeah, you're right. It's just super rushed. Which,
yeah. I mean, and I understand what you're saying about the training montage, but it did just feel like, and now he's on the ship. And it's also because his whole relationship with his daughter has been her just being petulantly angry at him constantly. Because it's just like, you don't believe in my ghost. Why'd you name me Murphy? I'm going to miss you forever. And so some of that was a little bit, I didn't get a real relationship other than that she's angry at him all the time. And the weird statement of, hey, when I get back, we're going to be the same age. Imagine that. That's creepy as hell.
Yeah. So I actually really like that the second viewing because that's what's saying about me understanding his character better. It's just because a pilot and an engineer. Like, he's very smart.
Yeah.
So I think emotionally, it's like he thought, well, this is because if you think about it, that actually is really cool.
Yeah.
So in his head, he's like, oh, I'll just tell her this really cool thing. Like, how weird would it be? We would be the same age, not thinking, oh no, that's a fucking horrible concept to tell my child.
See, I think what you are attributing to him as a character, I'm attributing to Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan as just weirdos being like, no, that is actually very cool. Like, it's the same thing. They think it's very cool that they're the same age.
Yeah, no,
without thinking of any of that thing in it.
I thought they wrote it as him realizing, like, oh fuck, that was a dumb thing to say.
Yeah,
like,
no, I didn't.
I read it that way, but it's much more the second viewing because the first time watching, I wasn't bothered by the dust, them leaving NASA, because I knew it was going somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I know Christopher Nolan well enough that it's like he's not just going to do some asshole like, man, it was just dust that did it. Like, I mean, there was got to be an explanation. So,
right, but then, and that explanation is real.
No, see, I love it. I love that entire concept. Like, I think that's the best part of the storytelling of this. It's like the way that wraps back around, the way trying to visualize like the Tesseract space.
That part was cool. I just hate Bootstrap's paradox. I hate that stuff.
And see, I like it sometimes, and I think this did a really good job with it.
I don't, because we can get there when we get there. But they get there. He's got so the whole thing is the human race is dying. All these plants are dying.
Well, there's apparently like a really resilient form of plant sickness that they refer to as the blight.
The blight, yeah.
Which I thought was well done. I liked that one part, and I hate Casey Affleck, but it's like, oh yeah, my idiot neighbor tried to grow okra. Mm-hmm. I think Casey Affleck said that, but either way, I love the throwaway line, like, an idiot tried to grow okra. The money's in corn these days. Like, I thought that was really well done. The way that and I think you weren't with me on this one, but like, I liked how the world's already over. Like, there's like, because it's only hinted at, but like Lithgow basically says we had 6 billion people, so there's significantly less than 6 billion people on the planet now, and we're on a planet right now with like 7. So it's like, oh fuck, like billions of people are dead. We're out of food. Like, the world's over. I like that in the background as like it's almost like The Walking Dead, not to cite that as a good show, but we were like, they never explained the virus.
Well, no,
it was a virus.
I liked the little touch of like the world famous New York Yankees, and they're just like in Iowa somewhere.
No, it's beautiful.
That's great. But it's just like this little one of the few times Nolan is subtle in this movie. One thing that drove me nuts, and it drove me nuts through both times watching at the beginning when you're getting their life on Earth, you get interspersed these like documentary clips of old people describing how they lived. So I already know, it's fine. They win.
I'm indifferent about that. What I like, do you know what those clips are?
No.
That's from the Ken Burns Dust Bowl documentary. That's from his documentary. That's literally real life people talking about the Dust Bowl.
Oh, well,
and he used those clips to describe the sci-fi. And I thought that was fucking cool. Well, maybe they redid those clips. I forget what it was. But the point is, that's what that was.
Sure, but in the context of that movie, that they're later used as things to describe that, when you're showing them and it's describing stuff that's going on, I did not feel like this is a juxtaposition to the Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
Other than like, when you say that, it makes sense because, like I said, Christopher Nolan has to hit you on the head with every point he's making in this movie. That makes sense to like, no, see how it's like that. But at the same time, when I was watching it, I'm seeing these old people talk about like, oh, we had to do this and the blight was bad. And I'm like, oh, well, so this is clearly from the future.
Yeah.
So they're going to be fine. And I understand it's not necessarily, it's the how they get there. But I also was just like, yeah, no, they're going to solve this. I don't know. That drained a lot of the tension for me the first time I saw it, too.
Yeah, see, I don't mind those because, and this is a fault of mine with my movie watching, is that I know they're not going to destroy the Earth in any movie.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
so it's like it's one of those like I kind of like him as a filmmaker going like, look, we all know the fucking conceit. Let's just it's going to happen.
Well,
so let's I don't know. I think
it's like rewatching a television show. And like, because I'll still watch like bits of like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, something like that. And be like, oh no, how's he gonna get out of this one? Even though I know exactly what's gonna happen. But I don't know. It was a stylistic choice I didn't understand, and frankly, I don't think needed to be there. All it did was set up this twist at the end, which was unnecessary.
What do you mean by twist?
That it just really sort of sets up that the mankind kept going, like they saved everything, but not in the way you expected. Now it's on this spaceship. And that was like because I think one of them was Ellen Burstyn in the documentary as well as being his daughter. I'm not sure.
I think Ellen Burstyn's the only one that's not Ken Burns' character. The movie, like 15 minutes in, they set up the kind of Ark ship is the building NASA's working out of, so it's not.
Yeah, which okay.
I guess the term twist is the one I'm like, not really a twist. I mean, it's literally Plan A that they discuss in great detail.
Right. But I thought about this. I didn't think about it before. Like, oh yeah, a spaceship made of concrete, but it's fine.
Well, that was the point of the gravity equation or whatever, which I actually really love. And this is something I wouldn't say. Michael Caine, not very good in this movie.
Yeah, I would agree.
Weirdly, because he's one of the best actors ever, not very good in this. Yeah. But I love his character motivation where he's literally like, I just had to lie because they would. What else do we have to do? There's nothing left.
Right.
We need to give hope. Like, we need to keep something fucking going. So, I solved the shit 40 years ago, but, like, what do you want me to do? Just go, oh, yeah, we're all fucking dead. No, we're going to keep it going. I like him sacrificing himself, like, his moral conviction to keep humanity
Yeah, he sacrifices that because
he
he doesn't sacrifice himself. He sacrifices his daughter.
Oh, no, but I mean, I love that.
But he gives up his humanity to do it.
No, but he gives his daughter to Plan B, which has been the whole time, is that he's basically, that's going to happen. But I love keeping humanity going on this lie. And I think that's a cool overarching kind of theme of the movie of like, they're still kind of holding on to these last vestiges of humanity, watching baseball and whatever, where it's really, we're literally dead. Like the world's over. Something really resonated with me on that.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it's an interesting concept to be sure. I don't like the execution of it necessarily. You could get nitpicky about it and be like, well, if part of Plan B was your whole thing, and I'm saying this like I'm assuming people have watched this, maybe send up more women than just your daughter, to put babies.
Well, so here's the question about that is...
It sounded like it was going to be a completely sexless process.
That's what I thought. But no, because they've got all the sperm and the eggs on the ship with them. Are we meant to assume that they can be grown outside of the body?
Don't know. Because otherwise it's just like you're sending one woman up there to just gestate a whole bunch of babies and then wait for them to grow up and then... Like I didn't understand that process of it, other than it was just like, here's this Plan B. We have all this. We're going to make this like shake and bake colony.
Yeah, because I think one of the dead astronauts when they go to one of the planets, I think one of them was a lady. Of the 11 that went up, I think there were some ladies.
At least one was.
Yeah, I thought about that too, but I'm just assuming, and it doesn't really matter because it's it's movie, science. But like I was assuming it can be some kind of grown in vitro kind of baby stuff because they are significantly in the future.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of all right with just like they got baby making equipment on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him. And another thing I don't think I'd say, I don't think John Lithgow did a very good acting job in this movie.
I think it was fine. He just didn't get a whole lot to do. I think he was just there to be gruff old man.
Because some of his monologuing just didn't. It felt like he just didn't feel like showing up.
That's a whole thing. Is that there's not dialogue in this movie. There's monologue. Everyone is just monologuing at each other, and it's so annoying. Like that first part where they're just like monologuing at each other about how we're supposed to be explorers and all this stuff, and then John Lithgow is talking about how bad the world is, just like at each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a whole lot of this movie. And one of the reasons I don't like it is that it's monologuing at each other and it's monologuing at me. Like there's so much this movie is talking at you. It's these exposition dumps.
Well, that's the two parts that I don't like is the opening kind of act and the closing. Not even the full act, but like kind of the badly paced parts. I think are badly paced but part of it is that monologue-y. Because the middle bit, which I'm enthralled with, basically once they cross through the black hole, I
just think it's funny because like that black hole, they're explaining what a black hole is to the genius NASA pilot astronaut man as they're approaching the black hole. Or the wormhole.
No, I thought about that though. No, he's not a genius. He's an engineer and a pilot. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, he saw a floating sphere.
Yeah.
And no one's ever seen a wormhole before. You're right. It is very much, we need to explain this to the audience, but it's not that dumb. Because, I mean, literally, there's like 7 people ever to see one of these things. You're not expecting it to be a perfect circle sphere in just floating off of Saturn. I'm kind of okay with a little monologue.
It just by that point, after like, oh, good, another information.
No,
cool.
totally. But I like them crossing through until like that whole up until he bounces out and ends up on the space station again. I love this movie. There's very little in there that I don't like. All the planet shit I think is great.
Oh, there's a lot I don't like with that.
Let's try to get there. I mean, yeah, basically we need a thing. He finds NASA. Dr. Brand's daughter, played by, what's that lady's name?
Anne Hathaway. Christopher Nolan can't write women. He cannot. This is something routinely in his movies where they're either just dead because that's easy, or like, because her whole thing later where she knows that her love is on this other planet is just this like, oh, these women and their emotions, not paying attention to menfolk, I thought was very stupid. Because she's a good scientist. She also is a crappy scientist. In fact, these are all bird-brained idiots, except for maybe the one guy that ends up staying on the ship for a while. But people just make bad choices left and right in this thing.
Oh, the black dude. He's my
favorite character, and like there's such an interesting story with him that they just ignore.
His acting in this is I love his choices where he's playing what an actual scientist is like in real life. Again, it's one of these real life performances where he's awkward, and like every time someone talks to him, he just does this like pauses and like kind of looks up and like and like everything's so measured, and it's almost like it was like what I was saying with McConaughey before, where it almost seems bad because of how good it is, because it's like it goes against what everybody else is doing. Like American Beauty guy is dog shit in this.
Yeah, he still has like the same facial hair of when he was in the Hunger Games.
Yeah,
and he's also, why is he in this? He's just there to be a red shirt basically. The actor you're talking about,
he hasn't been much. He was in Dark Knight as like he was like thin prison guy. He was in I think
it's David Gyasi.
That might be it, yeah.
But like his little thing, and it's really, again, it's not really commented upon too much. It's very there in the background of when they end up leaving him for what ends up being like 23 years and then come back.
Yeah.
How weird he's gotten in that time is great.
Oh yeah.
Like he's just, because he's been alone, like with a robot, and like not. So he's just not even awkward, just weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah, and there's a wonderful thing that happens there, and I think this goes to Nolan and I don't know who's in charge of that, but the way they aged the ship, because the ship literally from probably 8 minutes of our screen time to 23 years of what's going on there, the ship looks. It's almost like the Nostromo when they get back. Like it looks older and shitter. And it's such a small detail, but that's one of those things where I love this whole section. I mean, I love that water planet with it. This part we should do in order. So what else do we need to talk about anything?
I don't know. So
before
basically,
they get through the wormhole?
They have to go through this wormhole to.
Oh, it's established.
There's 3 planets. There's a crew that went up before, the Lazarus missions. And then there's 3 planets. There's 3 signals still happening from planets.
Yeah.
That are likely habitable.
Habitable.
No, habitable.
Okay.
And habitable Burris. And so, like, we're gonna go check these out, and hopefully one of these has a planet, and then we'll send back for people. I guess was the plan A. And then they start taking off, going through the wormhole, and I think this is the first of at least 9 times you hear the Rage Against the Dying of the Light poem. Yeah. I think it's only like 4.
No, but this was. And this goes to the Michael Caine just phoning this one in. He doesn't perform that well.
No, but I mean, but it's also, again, a thing that I found, like, oh, one of Nolan's like little tricks is just almost like in this Aaron Sorkin-esque way of repeating the same word over and over and over again. Like, again, The Dark Knight Rises. You could probably have a drinking game for how many times someone says rise in that movie and be drunk within the first like 15 minutes. Because it's just repeating the same thing, like theme. Get it? Are you getting it?
No, it's like Michael Bay's dramatic shadows on a sandy hill.
It's just the other thing I noticed with this one in terms of tricks Christopher Nolan does. Christopher Nolan I think it's very fitting that he did The Prestige, because he is trapped in this world between going ta-da and then telling you how he did the trick immediately. Like he wants to explain absolutely everything to you, but he also wants you to be amazed. And I think those are two forces that hurt this movie, because instead of being like, and it's hard to not bring up 2001 because there's very specific 2001 references in this.
Oh yeah, and Hans Zimmer fucking cribs from it, or you hear it in the score often. Yeah,
but like that was a movie that just went like the ballet of space.
Yeah,
and like look at this majesty, and isn't this crazy? Where this movie wants to like Neil deGrasse Tyson you, and just be like, well, technically it's this, and this spins this way, and it's just like that's like I was reading about it, and Dr. Kip Thorne, who helped like write the screenplay with him or whatever, was like, everything has to be scientifically correct.
Yeah.
That is so boring. Like, science is amazing and there's cool stuff, but like just to get like chained in by that is boring. I don't care if the center of the black hole is scientifically accurate.
Well, John, I fucking love science, and I have a thing I clicked on Facebook to prove it to you.
Yeah.
That didn't bother me. I there's some parts that
Just as a concept, I find that intensely boring.
There's a couple spots that got a little pedantic, but like, I think a lot of that's front loaded. That once you get through the wormhole, we're kind of living in it's kind of majestic.
Yeah, but he never stops explaining stuff to you. He never stops overly explaining. Like when they like a great example, like they're flying in the planet where they end up finding Dr. Man.
Yeah.
They hit a cloud that's made of ice, and he goes, "Oh, ice cloud." Yeah, I just saw that. Thank you. I mean, it's a minor thing, but there's just constantly explaining.
But, okay. To be fair, though, if you were watching this movie and randomly it's flying through the atmosphere and a plane wing smashes into something random and they make no fucking point about it, you'd go, what the fuck did they hit into?
I don't think my problem is not that they made a point about it. My point is that they explained it. Like,
they just
you,
said
the
ice
audience,
cloud.
but
They didn't go.
like, no.
Well, they didn't go. Ice clouds are made by forming cumulonimbus. Like, no,
I still thought it was completely unnecessary.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's just, and I understand that there's a lot of heady concepts in here that you have to explain to an audience of rubes.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I think they overdid it in places.
The things they overexplain, I really like the time as a resource. I think that's a really good concept.
I thought that was interesting because
yeah.
they really pushed the air as a resource at the beginning, because I like that when they're first taking off the flight, and I like that joke about like you are literally wasting air when he's trying to make something.
Oh yeah, that was nice. Yeah,
which I don't understand why he cared so much. Like at the beginning, I don't know what tipped him off or why he cared so much that Anne Hathaway might like this guy. Like if that was a reveal later where he's like, you know what I mean, that's just why she wants to go to this planet. But at the beginning, then she kind of like mentions him. He's like, oh, well, what's his planet like? Oh, well, he was an astrophysicist, or just like brushes it off with something. And then he's talking to the robot and he's like, what's the deal with her and that guy?
Yeah.
Like, all right, creep, just keep it in your pants.
I don't know that it matters, but what I think that was presaging her choosing that planet over the Data. Because I think kind of early on it's
understood. I mean, I understand they had setting it up, but it's just that I thought that was done very.
No, it was a little clunky, but also there's like 8 women left on the planet, and that's Anne fucking Hathaway.
On the topic of talking to the robot, though, I did like the robots in this because, as I mentioned in the previous episode, like I'm so tired of comical AI and stuff like that, and I thought the way they sort of handled it was good. Was there was that one that's like there was no nonsense.
Yeah, I think Case was the no nonsense one.
Like whatever. And Tars, they were like, why don't you be a little less cute? Thank you very much.
He literally turns down his humor setting.
Yeah, I liked their designs because like they were like weirdly functional. It was sort of a like thematically you could argue like, you know, it's sort of a combination of the Monolith and HAL from 2001.
Totally, yeah.
But like the way they moved and the way their functionality would change never betrayed their basic design structure. You know what I mean? Where it's like all of a sudden it can do this. And it was neat.
And it made sense in the world. Like I love the way they fit into cockpits. Mm-hmm. Like those things, because it's one of those deals of like, yeah, why would you have like a human over? Why would C-3PO be there? Like that's dumb. Like you would design it to be like some weird ass super utilitarian. Like so when they go to the first planet, that water world, and Kevin Costner drinks the pee.
Yes.
It's a fucking great scene.
That's all the planet is.
When I think that's Case, where he turns into the like an asterisk shape and just starts hauling ass holding Anne Hathaway, that was like, oh, these things are awesome because they were like clunky and weird and like beep boop beep, look at me, I'm Robbie the robot. But then it's just, oh no, that thing's actually kind of terrifying. Like it can morph its body because they're made for war, like he references earlier. And that thing picking up Anne Hathaway like she's a child and just hauling ass, it's like, oh, these would be terrifying on a battlefield. And I kind of like that.
So here's my question about that planet. So they land on this Waterworld planet.
Yeah.
They're like, every minute is like 7 years or no, it's like
Every hour is 7 years?
something like that.
I think that was it. I think it's an hour is 7 years.
Yeah. And so like, time is of the essence. So we get down there and then the tracker's supposed to be right here. It's telling us it's right here. Well, I'm not seeing anything. Oh, there's some wreckage. It looks like she crashed. Hold on. We need to get the data. Here comes a giant wave coming towards us. We need to get the data. Do you? Do you really need that data?
Yeah.
Because you can't live here. You absolutely
Well, I don't know. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but I mean,
you there,
I made my point. You cannot live. Like, there's giant waves coming at you.
But you don't know if maybe the other side of the planet has a landmass. So maybe the idea, and you're right. I thought that while watching it, but like an in-universe explanation is there enough that it's not that bad. Because think about it, like if the other side of the planet has a big enough landmass, you could just not be near the shore, and you'd have tides, you'd have water, you could grow shit. It's breathable oxygen.
How would those giant waves not get to you?
Well, I mean, if let's say it's a mile-high wave, that would probably go what? I don't know. 30 miles inland. I don't know how tsunamis work. So if you live 32 miles inland,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Or like if it was somehow on like the top of a mountain or something.
yeah, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like tidally, like maybe the other side of the planet, has a shitload of mountains. They didn't do a good job with that.
Yeah, but it's also that like these giant waves were approaching and no one else noticed except Matthew McConaughey.
Here's the deal about that is they show the giant wave in the background and never for a second did I think, oh, that's a giant wave. Like, oh yeah, those are mountains. Like literally, I did the exact same thing that In-Universe did. And to be fair, I'm not a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on a planet I've never set foot on. I have got all the excuses in the world that have not noticed that giant wave. However, that did look like a fucking mountain to me.
It was an interesting idea. I did not like the execution. I'll put it that way. Because then, so then Wes Bentley dies and no one cares because no one should care. And then they go back up to the ship. And,
Wait, you mean that guy with all that character and backstory we knew? Yeah.
And the guy they left behind to study gravity is all old and weird now. And this is the part that's very Christopher Nolan that irritated me greatly is that when they get back up there, Anne Hathaway says something. I don't remember what the line is exactly, but she's like, "Well, I know the theory, but in practice it didn't work." It was like, just show me that. Don't tell me that, or like have that conversation happen, or like be interesting. There's so much just stating stuff. It's like so much of the like him and his daughter. I feel like so much of the love that they feel is told to you and not shown. I don't feel that relationship between him and his daughter. You're just told that they love each other.
Oh, I couldn't disagree.
And
more.
then, well, because here's the thing: she's got such crazy fucking daddy issues about him being gone. Why'd she go work for the exact same program he's working on? Why is she trying to, you know what I mean? Like,
because she's mad at him. She's not mad at humanity.
Yeah, but I mean, really, you want to like do the thing that your dad left you to go do?
Well, yeah, because her dad's trying to. I mean, they're the.
She doesn't believe that he left to go save the world. She's angry at him for that.
No, but either way, she's gonna work for the company that could theoretically save humanity. I think that's Trump's daddy issue. But however, I think they showed the love well when he goes to the parent-teacher conference. Although that moon landing thing was stupid, granted. Him going, well, you know what I'm going to do? There's a baseball game tonight, and I'm going to take her there. I'm going to buy her some popcorn. I'm going to buy her soda pop, and I'm going to take her to the baseball game, and we're going to have a grand old time. Where it's like literally, I'm going to reward her because that's my girl. Like, but she's a dick because you guys are dicks, and I like that. And I think that shows a lot. And him and his frustration level with her, I thought that is what a child rearing is like. I remember being a dickhead to my parents.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't know. It didn't read as much for me. On the opposite side, though, I will say that I was less irritated. I still think his son gets the brush off, but I don't think it was as harsh this time around as I saw it the first time. Because the first time, like, he does interact with his son and is like, you get my truck, and hey, you're a little grown man. And then the fact that his son is the only one that sends him those recordings and his reactions to those recordings when he gets back from because that's the whole thing. So when they get back from the station from the water planet and are back on the station, the whole like, I'm old, time has passed, it's weird. Oh, there's 12 messages for you. Get out of the way, weird man. I'm gonna go watch some TV. Yeah. And he goes and watches his Casey Affleck, who's his adult son. Time's on the farm and all this stuff. He wanted to name his son Coop, so his son would be named Coop Cooper. Yeah. Yeah, what a dumb kid.
Yeah. Here, that scene was, and I am an avowed Casey Affleck hater. I dislike him intensely. He just looks like he's a bad person. Yes. I know nothing about him. He strikes me as this guy's a cheater, but I love his acting in this. That part, And it's a lot of with the pacing, but that part where he's like, "Oh, here's your granddaughter. Meet her. This is little Jessie." And then the next message is, "Well, we buried Jessie out by, out by where we buried Mom." I'm like, "Oh my God, you just introduced a grandchild and killed it." That's why I love the time dilation thing of like, "Oh, that was fucking brutal," and I love it. Like, you fucked my emotions hard right there, and I really enjoyed that part.
I did like
enjoyed the wrong word, but
I didn't like how, again, the Hans Zimmer score was really just pummeling you with like, you're going to be sad here, because Matthew McConaughey was doing a great job.
Yeah,
like I really liked him in that scene, and like I'm watching my life from a third person perspective, basically. Like, I'm getting reports of being a grandparent. Like, it's this, I'm so removed from everything.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting. The only thing I liked with the soundtrack is when it cuts when the video does. I thought it was sort of an interesting mechanic to have that sort of like, oh, you're all sad, and then like right when it drops out, to sort of mirror that same feeling of like, no more for you. Like this, you can't be emotional anymore. I mean, you can be, but you know what I mean? Like, this connection is done. Back to being an astronaut.
Yeah, I don't even think I picked up on it, but I like your point.
Yeah.
I don't think I noticed that, because I'm not saying I made a conscious effort, but at some point I realized that the score was distracting, and not that I tried to ignore it, but I tried to kind of place it on a shelf somewhere else.
It's just so overbearing throughout so much of this.
And a couple of the Saturn shots are so like, literally, it's just you're just cribbing from Kubrick, and it's just so
but on the other side of that, there's so many, like, he does so many shots of like, particularly the Endurance, the space station they go to, because that's the first thing they do when they leave Earth. Is they go to the space station, and the space station goes through the wormhole and whatever.
Yeah.
Is there so many shots that are like trying to mirror actual NASA shots, where NASA just sort of like has a camera on the side of the ship. You know, NASA's trying not to set up a cinematic thing. They're just trying to get recordings of what's going on. So you have like just these like passenger side views almost, or, you know, dash cam kind of things, where you're just like, here's a strut on the ship that the camera is on. And while that's like, yeah, that's like NASA, and it kind of gives it a little bit more human element. I feel like so much of the space that you see is done through a window, is like what these characters are supposed to be seeing. But at the same time, it kind of takes away the majesty of it all. You know, like, it's just, you get a couple of shots like them by Saturn, or like them approaching the wormhole is kind of cool, but it's just like, there's some space, but here's our ship. And it's just, it's because it makes it more personal. It ruins the majesty of it a little bit. It's like seeing the Grand Canyon, or like, you know, some beautiful picturesque thing through like a car window is much less exciting than like a big swooping drone shot or something.
I think it's effective for them being on a ship, and like kind of, because they are establishing, like, not that they're establishing claustrophobia, they're establishing like this time claustrophobia, and I think some of the shots being done that way. Oh, I think we missed, because this happens just about now, is so after he watches the Casey Affleck videos, there's the one video from Murph. She sends well, Dad, I just sent it because I wanted to send you this. She's not old, she's a adult. She's like, I just want to tell you because today's my birthday, and I'm the same age as you, and you told me that, you know, and she calls back that cover, and I love that, because like, she's like this petulant little child, and she's still remembered. And I liked that as a bit of writing, like, of just like, she's still pissed, of like, you dick, I can't believe you fucking said that. Like, I just like that. I like the little bit of acting there. I like McConaughey in that, and I like how they're really showing the weight of time, like, because it's almost easy to ignore if you just say, oh, well, X amount of years have passed. But you're watching her, and she's a grown fucking woman now.
Yeah.
And that his grandchild just died in front of his eyes is... Because McConaughey also does this thing where he kind of reaches like his hand out and like kind of waves to the granddaughter.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, she's dead. It's just like, oh, this is brutal. And then the Murph thing just fucking smacks you across the face. I like having my emotions fucked with. I gotta admit it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. There's a lot of please cry here moments, but again,
I fall for him every fucking time.
I'm normally a sucker for that stuff, but it didn't do it for me. And I think, the Murph thing, where it's just like, I'm so mad at you, I'm gonna be a part of the thing that took you away from me, doesn't make sense to me. Because like, you're saying like, they're gonna save the world. Is that the only game in town? And if you're that angry at him, for 30 some years,
Also, I think what we're missing is I think she was basically raised by Michael Caine after he left.
There's a certain amount of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she kind of like was almost like initiated because she's smart, and there's like 8 people left on the planet.
Yeah.
They're like, smart person, no, you literally, there's no choice. You now live here, you work here. This is your shit.
Which, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a backstory that's kind of glossed over because you'd think there would be a lot of fighting against that.
No, which I would be fine. Again, I think the pacing in that first act, like that could have been shown a little bit more. But I can see why they made these decisions. I should say Nolan made the decision because it takes away from the smack in the face of showing her as an adult. Because you can't see her as an adult until that video. Because you need to have him get affected. So that's the problem is how do you establish the world that she grew up in and these kind of character choices and these plot choices she has to make? You can't show that because you need to have that impact scene where he sees her for the first time and she's now a grown-up.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't go out of order and go, oh, well, by the way, she's a grown-up, but 15 years ago she made this choice.
No,
so
I get
just,
that.
I mean, it's just a script problem of you're stuck in this weird corner. It's the same as the end of the movie, which we'll get to, but that's the part that I have the biggest problem with.
Mm-hmm. Because love is a thing that you're just told that they have rather than actually seeing and experiencing.
I disagree with the love. I think at the beginning, I think it's clear they love each other. I mean, you may have had a functional childhood. That reminded me of my childhood of arguing means we love you. Like,
fair enough.
Yeah, so they're like mad at each other, blah blah blah. Yeah. So this is where basically this is the big reveal right before they land on the ice planet.
Right.
There's this big argument. Do we go to the ice planet, which has better readings? Theoretically, Dr. Mann's there, the best of us.
Right. The guy that inspired this whole mission in the first place.
Yeah. But I actually really love because when the reveal happens, it's just like, oh, that's why this is a clusterfuck. Or go to the planet where her gentleman is. And she gives this whole speech about love. Could love be this fifth dimensional concept that transcends all things? Which I've never been more 50-50 on something. Because I literally equal parts hate and love this concept of like it sort of plays, but also it's really hokey as shit.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it 100 and say no, it's bullshit. It sucks. This is like, oh cool, I'm in a Final Fantasy video game now. I'm in a fucking anime. Like this is a scientist going, no, it's love. And you know what? If there's probably a way to handle this that isn't so just mawkish and awful, but because it's Christopher Nolan, you bet. The only way is just like Tom Osborne in the 1980s, Nebraska Cornhuskers. The only way is through the middle. Just rush. Just no way around it. Just hit it head on.
I have no idea what any of those words
I just made a sports metaphor, bitch.
Is that? I mean, I got that was a sports metaphor. Is that from a movie or is that from?
No, Tom Osborne was the coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and he was famous for he'd always just rush up the middle. That's the only thing I know about Nebraska football.
That's crazy that you just made that. Literally, my thought was, is that a movie?
It's from The Natural.
Yeah. No. My first thought was The Natural, and then went, no, that's the one with the bat. And then went, no, there's that famous football movie with maybe Gene Hackman. Maybe that's the thing he's referencing. And then in third place was, wait, maybe John's actually talking about literal sports.
My point is that Christopher Nolan just can't, like, he just doesn't know how to handle that. And so it is just this, like, no, I can tell because love, and love's the fifth dimension. Which is dumb because we all know love is the fifth element.
Yes, we
which
do.
is no less stupid.
Well, here's the thing, and it's like I don't even like disagree with you, but in my kind of new agey weird occult world, there is this kind of running through. I'm not saying I believe in it, but like one of the kind of subplots of a lot of like spiritual beliefs is that literally love is like the thing. It's this vibrational thing that's through the whole universe. Yada yada. I'm not saying it's true, good, or smart. But I think her speech with how I've been informed hits me slightly differently. Still think it's horseshit.
Right.
But it's like, well, I have a worldview that has already been introduced to allow for something this stupid.
She's a scientist.
No, I know. But she's also a scientist that lives on a completely dead fucking world.
Yeah.
And aliens have just created a stable wormhole in their galaxy.
Yeah,
I'm a
she's
little
in fucking bubblegum crisis. This is idiotic.
But I don't hate it so much.
Okay, so this I haven't brought this up yet. This is part of my problem with the whole thing. So I was just thinking about how angry I was that this movie made me go like, No, but love being the fifth element works in the Fifth Element because of how dumb and awful that movie is.
Exactly. No, because that movie's great.
But here's the problem, is this movie is so over serious about everything. It's so like portentous and pretentious, but just like this boom, oh, this is all so very important and oh my God, that when they do shit like that, it's real stupid. And I think that's part of the reasons that I get so mad at it, because it's one thing to have your friend say something stupid, but it's another to have like, you know, your friend who's like I've graduated in philosophy and I'm very serious and very smart. A hot dog is a kind of sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, what you just said was nonsensical, but like you're giving it all this weight that it doesn't really have. And I understand you're dealing with something heavy like the future of mankind and the end of the world, but this movie is just so self-serious throughout it that when it does this really dumb stuff, it really sticks out.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong. I would say, however, I have no problem with a hot dog being kind of sandwich. It's something in between two pieces of bread. Just because the bread has some kind of small connection.
I don't agree.
All right, so back on Earth, it's revealed basically that Dr. Mann, he's been not Dr. Mann, Dr. Michael Caine.
Yeah, the other Dr. Brandt.
They find out that it's bullshit.
Well, I did kind of
we
like
might
that.
be out of order here, but let's
no,
talk
it's
about
about right.
this
Well,
now.
that's about right. Like I kind of like that switch of like you see her as an adult recording that message, and then it like now we're going to follow her, and this is what she's been up to. Kind of. Like so, here's her in NASA. Here's her with Topher Grace. I guess they're related or boyfriend and girlfriend or something. I don't know. Then she's working for secret NASA now, doing things, and then so it starts becoming this parallel story, which I don't think was that effective. Because so then they eventually get to the meanwhile up in space, they're going to the third planet. And it's the one, they decide to go to the one that Dr. Mann is at.
Yeah.
Because he's still got the best readings and it's an ice planet. And they wake up Dr. Mann, it's Matt Damon, which, thank you for taking me out of the movie, Matt Damon.
No, wait, I have to stop you just right here. Does this come before or after The Martian?
Before, way before.
So, okay, but does he take you out of the movie the first time you see this? Because I think I saw...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because like I didn't know he was in it,
Yeah.
and like they never really mentioned that he was in it. All of a sudden, it's like movie star, everybody.
Oh, that's what
know?
did it. Okay, because for me, this is I think I saw it once before seeing The Martian, but I've seen The Martian a few times. I actually like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So this time, him being in it and his space outfit has some like orange Martian aspects to it. That I'm like, this is fucking me up right now. And all I could think about was The Martian, and I'm like, man, I'd love to be watching The Martian right now because I very much enjoyed Interstellar. But I like The Martian a lot more. Like I actually really enjoyed that movie. I
still
like
haven't
that
seen
book.
it.
The book's a lot better, but yeah.
So they wake him up, and like I like this concept of he's just like I hope you never have to figure out how great it feels to see another face. Like,
yeah, that was a nice line.
This is terrible, whatever. And they find out that he's been taking readings, and this is this planet up here. It's terrible, but if you get down to the surface, things are good. And they're like, oh, that's great. Oh, hey, I see you have this decommissioned robot. What's going on there? And it's like all torn up. And he's like, I started like reading things weird. So I had to take it apart and use its power supply to power stuff for the mission. And meanwhile, that's going on. Baby Coop is down. Murph is down on Earth, like meeting with, I don't even remember what brings her to him in the first place. Like, why is she going to talk to her brother? Because I know she's worked with Michael Caine on something. And then I think that by this point, Michael Caine has revealed that Nolan is coming back. That he's already had the gravity thing solved.
I think she's just visiting her brother for a visit the first time. Then the second time when she comes with Topher Grace is because he's a doctor and he wants to look at the lungs of the little boy and the sister-in-law. The first time I don't think it's explained. I think it's just a visit. I think it's just, hey, my brother lives near here. I'll just go, I'll just hang out with him for a second.
But eventually you find out that Michael Caine is dying, who doesn't really age, by the way, in all this time.
All right, so basically, here's the concurrent storylines. Matthew McConaughey is on the ice planet with Dr. Mann, and there is the kind of concurrent storyline where it's revealed that Brand's been bullshitting. That's revealed at kind of the end of it, but it's happening at the same time. So, but let's deal with Brand, because I think it's more interesting. So he revealed it's fake. Murph, it's like, wait, what are you talking about? This whole thing turns out it's complete bullshit. And this is kind of like running theme of her kind of realizing, or her thinking about what happened to her as a child, because she's telling Topher Grace about the ghost in her room or whatever.
Right.
she refuses to go back. And there's this kind of growing realization that, oh, this might be something. And I like how that's growing there because we still don't know, at least first time watching it, we still don't know that has anything to do with the second story.
Yep.
And I like the way the timing of this plays out. So she's starting to realize, oh, fuck, this was something. So she literally burns her brother's crops down so he can get the fuck out of the house. So she can go grab shit from her old room and escape with the sister-in-law and the nephew. And she sees the old watch, she sees the lander, and it's a really slow, nicely paced burn. That's why I love the center of the movie of her going, oh, there's something here. What the fuck is this? Like, why is this? I really like that.
But I didn't hate that as much as I hate the whole ghost thing. I didn't hate that, but I don't like how it was intercut with everything else. I thought while those sort of like had the same themes of betrayal and stuff like that and struggling to make sense of this, I think both were lessened by that because I'm too busy being so irritated by the man stuff that I'm kind of losing what's going on
See,
Earth.
I like the man stuff.
I don't. Oh my God. So,
but wait, wait, let's pretend it's not Matt Damon because he doesn't bother me. But
that's a minor
that's what I'm saying.
thing.
Like let's just wipe the Damon slate clean because I don't agree, but I totally get that.
Yeah.
What part of that doesn't? Because I actually really dug that.
So you find out. Well, let's just start off at the front. Well, you find out that his readings, that he's been faking them, and he just really wanted to get rescued because he couldn't believe that this couldn't work, and that he never really thought that he would be the one to die, and he unveils this all to Matt Damon, to Matthew McConaughey as they're walking, and then like tries to kill him.
Yeah.
It does this whole like James Bond villain info dump. And then, oh, wow, man's greatest enemy is man. Wow, that you just went with that, huh? You couldn't think of a less on the nose allegory or than that.
Oh, I think I didn't take that read
that
at
was
all.
That was but just the whole like Scooby-Doo, not Scooby-Doo, but kind of just the whole like here's my whole plot. And then if you wanted to just leave, why not just say like I'd like to leave. Like this didn't work.
I
save me.
See, I took a lot more from it. I love the speech he gives. Love's a strong word, but I really like the speech he gives to McConaughey, whe's like, well, he's kind of this nerdy guy going, no, the biggest like propagator of everything is mankind's will to live, and like he thinks he's talking about mankind, but it's actually just him being completely fucking insane from loneliness.
Well, but
keep in mind, John, keep in mind. You're in my basement apartment in which I live by myself. You've known me for over a decade and have never met a girlfriend of mine. I assure you, I'm taking a lot more from this lonely man than you could ever know. But I get this guy on a level that John, I pray you would never understand how well I understand this man.
No, but I understand what he's getting at, but he also says like that Matthew McConaughey is driven by this thing to save his family because that's a huge thing we haven't been able to overcome.
Yeah.
Which the movie 100% says, no, that's not true later.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, the ending of the movie, we'll get to that.
Oh, yeah, that part. Yeah. But that's the one part where I don't disagree with you. That part's just dumb.
Yeah.
Like, that is just...
the whole point of the movie is dumb? Yes, I agree.
No, not the point of the movie, that one scene.
The whole driving force behind the movie is dumb? Yes.
That's not the driving force. He's still trying to save humanity.
He really cares about his kid. Because there's several things, but it's all couched in him trying to save his kid. It's the bullshit thing, it's Ben Affleck in Armageddon, bringing this up again, where it's like we got to save the planet, but especially my girlfriend.
No. See, I disagree. I think I think you missed the read on this. I think he's supposed to be the counterpoint to Dr. Brand, Michael Caine, where they're both giving up an important aspect of themselves for it's an ultimate self-sacrifice. We're not just giving away your life, which is easy. You're giving away something far more important. Michael Caine is giving away literally like his standing and his morals to keep humanity going because that's the only way he knows how to do it. And he's giving away his children, like the most important thing.
He's already convinced that ship has sailed. Like Murph doesn't want to talk to him. He feels like he's already screwed it up.
What do you mean? That happened a week ago. It's like 6 days in his time.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, she doesn't want to talk to him. She's all angry. She's like,
"Oh no, let's not." No, I'm not talking about the end yet. I mean,
no, that's okay. That's what I'm talking about.
No, but I mean, like, that's not there till the end,
right?
But he did go to save humanity. It's not like he went just to save his family. Like that was a huge part of it.
But routinely, like he wants to get back to his family.
He wants to get back, but he left to save humanity. But that's a big difference though, because he's sacrificing watching his child grow to save humanity.
Yeah, but I feel like we're saying the same thing though. But it's still ultimately to save his it's not just to save humanity. It's also to save his family.
But yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, I guess we're saying something similar, but I just think it's more important that he's sacrificing decades of it. It's not like he's not saving his family in the way that would matter. It's not like he's jumping in front of the bus to save his 5-year-old. He's willingly being separated from his 5-year-old and going, well, maybe I can see my 45-year-old. You know, and I think that's a big difference because I think that's thematically kind of why he's the counterpoint to Dr. Brand, or the kind of the other. You know, it's this very similar storyline of sacrificing. That, you know, I think Nolan does a good job with kind of not doing the normal masculine tropes on a lot of stuff. And that's because the easy thing is big, strong guy dies for someone. Like that's the easiest shit in the world to die for someone. Like this is like this kind of abstract other form of sacrifice, which I find far more interesting.
But just, yeah, I don't know. Just the whole Matt Damon thing, just how that was done was just felt so like, now we need another complication. Because like I just feel like I know he's probably kind of crazy being alone as well and having the stuff not work out, but it's just that it becomes then the action sequence and this James Bond villain where he's fighting him and like almost kills Matthew McConaughey and is trying to escape, and then it becomes this, and on its face I think this is kind of interesting in that, like, okay, well, famously there's this scene from 2001 where the ship has to dock with the station and they have to get in the same sort of similar spin in order for it to dock. And they turned that into an action scene. They're like, what if we sped it up and made an action scene? I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. That is a concept I like. I did not like the execution so much.
Yeah, I would have liked that scene if that had happened. I don't know how it would fit. I would have liked that after the water world.
Well, it did happen after the water world.
No. I mean, like, as the escape from the water world, I would have liked, because I don't like, because I liked the Dr. Mann and McConaughey talk and attempted murder. I like that. I think it's well done. I like his speech, how it's kind of, he's saying two things at once, and then when the big reveal happens, it's not like it's surprising, but it's like, oh, this guy's completely fucking batshit.
Yeah.
But he gets like General Grievous, twirly mustache, fingertips touching each other when he tries to steal the ship. That part, however, I fucking love that they didn't let him finish his sentence when he explodes.
Was great. Well,
I love that shit.
Only because, and I think it's mainly just to be like a shock value thing, not Christopher Nolan acknowledging, yeah, everyone's been pontificating for this whole fucking movie. But it's just, Matt Damon's about to launch into another speech. Like, well, it's more important, and he just gets bounced out of the airlock.
Oh, I think
There's no way. There is no way.
No, I'm not saying for the movie, but I think that's a comment on Dr. Mann's character.
How is Dr. Mann's character's constant pontificating different from everyone else's constant pontificating?
You're reading too much into what I just said.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's smart, or Christopher Nolan is self-aware enough for this. I just mean his comment is back Dr. Mann. He's going, hey, look at this asshole. He pontificates all the time, and he doesn't get to finish the sentence. When Christopher Nolan has that thought, he doesn't realize that every other fucking character does the same shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, we're on the same page. Yeah. I just think in Christopher Nolan's mind, he did do that as a joke about people that pontificate. Yeah. He just didn't realize that he wrote every other fucking character. Yeah. Except for McConaughey, like, who doesn't really give a lot of speeches, which is nice.
Well, he does at the beginning, for sure, because he gives he gives a bunch of speeches actually. In
really?
This movie.
I guess maybe just because everybody else does more of them.
Yeah. Well, so now they have to get back on to the Endurance, and
this is the spinny bit we're talking about.
Well, and that's kind of a thing that's just it's in the long run it's not that big of a deal, but it was kind of irritating. So Matthew McConaughey was like a great pilot, but then also says that he like really only flew like test missions or something, because he's just pulling all kinds of space awesome shit sort of inexplicably.
Well, no, I think he was a test pilot. Mm-hmm. Like that he tested new like space Hal Jordan stuff. Yeah. I don't think it's made clear, but he's an ace pilot.
But yeah, because he's just pulling some shenanigans up there in space. Because then he has to do this crazy spin to it to get locked in, and that was kind of interesting.
Oh, on that note, the physical effects in this movie I love. I love the special effects. I really enjoy the way this movie looks, with one exception. The fruitless clasps when Dr. Mann is trying to, and they just keep cutting back to this. It's almost like Mystery Science Theater 3000, or like I kept thinking Pee-wee's Playhouse. I don't know why, but it was just like, it looked like stop motion, and maybe that's, I think that's probably what shit looks like in space. It's probably really accurate, but it just looked so bad to me of like, no, that's just like some kind of puppet bullshit. Like, but they cut to it like 4 fucking times with that stupid.
They want to make sure that you completely understand because you're too stupid to like just see it once or twice and then have the voice go, it's not connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they get back on the ship and then they determine that, boy, we're bad at this. We are really bad at this. And so we're going to go try to get to this third planet. There's a way to do that. It's going to be tough and we're going to have to sacrifice stuff. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned already that the black guy is blown up.
Dr. Man kills him. Yeah.
It kills him. And again, like no one cares about anyone that dies on this mission.
Yeah.
Everyone is just like, fine. That's the Goss doing business. All right, moving on. So
the idea is that they're gonna slingshot around Gargantua, the wormhole on that side.
Yeah, to get to Emerson's
and it's
planet.
gonna eat 50 years is the big thing.
Yeah.
But the idea, so they're gonna get the 2 shuttles. One is gonna be manned by one of the TARS or Case, one of them. It doesn't matter.
I believe TARS.
And the other one, McConaughey's in.
TARS is in the one with McConaughey, I believe.
Yeah, so they're gonna slingshot around. One's gonna drop out, try to get some telemetry after he drops out, and they're gonna land on the planet together. McConaughey, it's a little switcheroo because he goes, that's Newton's third law. To go faster, you gotta
leave something behind.
Dumb line, but I like the setup enough to kind of forgive the hamminess of it.
Well, because it's so the whole rest of it has been so overwrought and just that just this stupid melodramatic line is like, why not? It fits right in.
Yeah, but I like I like the setup and I like the way they have their eye line. I think it's just it's a well set up shot to show the kind of what. And you're right. I mean, Nolan's not great with emotion, but to show what would be emotional weight if there were emotion here. And again, these are 2 great actors. So like, in spite of how little there is, you feel there's something, there. One great actor and Anne Hathaway's perfectly serviceable.
But earlier the guy, the other scientist had mentioned to Matthew McConaughey that the black hole, because it was older, it had like this soft singularity or something like. Maybe you could pass through it. I don't know.
Which I did like that of like, we don't fucking know. We don't know anything about these things.
Yeah. So at that point, I feel like he was like, no, I'm giving it all, like I'm going to let you do this. It seems like no one loves me. I'm going to go through this black hole and see where that gets me.
I didn't pick up on the nobody loves me. I think it is he's kind of, I think he was just kind of hoping he'd get back home.
Yeah. But he's also like, what else? Either I get home or just fuck it.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I'm out of contact with everyone. It's been 50 years. I don't know if anyone's even still around. So yeah, it'd be great. But just I have, what do I got to lose? And I liked the initial going through the black hole again. Like, so immediately you're thinking of 2001 and that kind of element. And they didn't do that. And I liked that they didn't do that. It's just cold and dark.
Yeah,
I
love that.
I thought Matthew McConaughey sold that really well. Feeling that isolation. That's really weird. And then they get to the singularity. Yeah.
What did you like about that?
Just the tie to this M. Night Shyamalan bullshit with the 3D bookcase. The fact that
the Tesseract, you mean?
Yeah. The fact that our radio communication still works with this robot. The fact that humans have evolved into 5th dimensional beings.
I loved all this.
But if that's the thing, if you're like, we need to save the world, why is this so complicated? Why is this so difficult? Why not put the wormhole by Mars, by next door?
Well, because its gravity would fuck things up. It needed to be near Saturn.
Ugh. That's not a great explanation for me. Like, I don't care. I don't know. That doesn't mean anything.
I bought all of this. I fucking love it. I think that the science of it is fantastic.
And the only way to save mankind is to push books out of a bookcase and then to move dust.
No, that's the only way that McConaughey or humans of our current evolutionary rate can understand how to deal with time as a spatial dimension. It's a visualization of it.
Is dust in a little girl's room?
Well, I mean, that's awesome.
No, that's not awesome.
How is that not awesome?
I'm on a quest to save humanity. Here's this real, like, obtuse and weird way to go about it. No, like, what do you? And then okay, even
no, because they're trying to. Okay, think about. All right, so you're a million years evolved human.
Absolutely,
Obviously, you're no longer human. You're more
Yes.
human than human. You're a Rob Zombie song. It's fantastic. You're essentially trying to talk an ape through landing a spaceship. Like, I mean, I shouldn't use spaceship. You're trying to talk an ape through heart surgery. Like the concepts, you literally can't explain the concepts to the ape because we don't have the brain to understand fifth dimensional, physics.
Right.
So all you can do is build this concept of like, I guess you can try to look at this dimension because there's no way. It's like that. It's like the flat world thing in a 2-dimensional world. That the line world can't understand a 3-dimensional object.
Right.
But we're in a 3-dimensional world. We can't understand a 4th-dimensional object. So it's them trying to explain that. So the
best way to do it is dust in a little girl's room.
No, the best way to do it is to give you what they're doing is giving a periscope view into an important element. The love thing is something you're incredibly connected to, and find some way to talk to that person.
But why not just communicate with like Brandt? Why not communicate with a NASA scientist?
Because no one would. You have to have the connection with the person. That's the whole love thing. Is there's a double connection. There's two things. It's love and gravity. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a great device.
I don't.
But how would Brandt notice that? I mean, he's.
I don't know. I mean, I don't understand why you're trying to communicate with dust. I don't get it. I understand.
What don't you get about that?
I understand your point though. Like it's trying to explain stuff to an ape, but that's so obtuse. That's so like there's at least 1 billion people left on Earth. There's scientists at NASA, and you're like, no, it's got to be this little girl, and it's got to be Matthew McConaughey. And even if yes, this worked, how did that even happen to begin with? How did McConaughey get there to begin with to send him the message?
Well, this is
before?
the bootstrap thing you hate.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's the thing that I hate is that there's no inciting incident. Times the fucking flat circle or whatever.
No, it's retrocausality is what the physics would be. Is that
Oh boy.
All right, fine. Would you?
No, I'm just saying that term just is irritating.
Well, that's an actual physics term.
What is that?
Retrocausality means that future events can affect events in the past.
Is really?
Yeah, it's a thing in physics. Yeah, I mean, it's like cutting edge physics. Like I know anything about this. I read it in fucking Scientific American. Like a very smart person wrote an article. Another very smart person wrote another thing describing that article, and then a third person that's slightly smarter than me wrote something for Scientific American, and I read that.
Fair enough. Yeah, and then I gave it the raspberry. Who was the real genius here?
But Val Kilmer. I like conceptually trying to explain, because that whole flat world thing of a 2-dimensional thing trying to understand 3 dimensions makes sense to me because we're in 3 dimensions. So trying to picture 4 or 5 is your brain fucking explodes. So it's just them reaching out in any way possible. And I think and I don't mean to be like arrogant here. I think what you're missing is that it's not him. He created that scenario. All they did was like the future humans. Just connected him, literally just put him in a place and said, there's one thing that can transverse time, that could possibly happen. It's this shit. You have access to it.
The only hope for mankind is Matthew McConaughey and his daughter.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be Matthew McConaughey, because who knows how many other situations like this can exist. It's, how many permutations were put out there. It's like the Infinite Monkeys. Like how many other situations?
Right. I'm going purely on what the movie showed me.
No, but the movie didn't discount anything else. I think because we're watching the movie because he caused the events to allow for the movie to happen.
Right.
So that's why it is. So it's not, you're saying like, why did they choose him? He chose him.
What?
He chose him. This is the retrocausality thing.
But so he created the singularity that was the bookcase behind his daughter's, or the
singularity was created to allow for it. But all the inciting events that happened were created by Matthew McConaughey.
Right. So why did they create the space behind the bookcase?
So it could be allowed. So it can be reached out. So there's a facility.
So they had to reach out to the little girl to do it.
No. He reached out to the little girl. I think you're missing something very fundamental here.
Yeah.
Okay, oh no, here I got it. Yeah. I can explain it. Remember in Bill and Ted where they go, we have to remember to build a cage.
That intensely stupid thing that was in a fun movie and that I didn't slog through 2.5 goddamn hours to.
But
I know exactly what you're saying.
We just have to remember later to put a cage up there. But I mean, the thing is, no time travel movies make sense. Fucking Marty McFly's hand started fading from existence makes zero sense.
Yeah. Guess what that wasn't? 2.5 goddamn hours of this is very serious and very important.
No, but
and we can't go out of the realm of scientific reality.
But either way, the science of this makes sense. So it's
great.
retrocausality.
It's still dumb as fuck.
It's not dumb. It's very smart.
Absolutely stupid. It's
smart.
It was me the whole time. It's an episode of Black Mirror. It's Twilight Zone bullshit.
No, it wasn't. No, that's not. I don't think that's the twist.
That is absolutely the twist. It was him the whole time.
No, but there's not no twist. The point is, it had to be him the whole time because it was him. He was the inciting incident.
But that is absolutely the twist, that it was him the whole time.
Oh, see, I don't think that's a twist. That's just an explanation of the plot. I don't
understand what's so difficult to understand about this. If it was just, no, it's fifth dimensional beings, the twist is, no, it was us. The twist is, no, it was me.
No, but it wasn't him. It was fifth dimensional beings allowing him to do it.
That is such a weird statement to me. That doesn't make any sense.
That totally makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's fifth dimensional beings that in order to become fifth dimensional beings have to save humanity. Only way to do that is to have Matthew McConaughey do it.
They already became fifth dimensional beings, and then they had to save humanity. It's retrocausality. It's like Bill and Ted saying, we must remember to put a cage there. So if Bill and Ted weren't there to put the cage there, they couldn't put the cage there.
Right.
They couldn't get to the point that they put the cage there unless they put the cage there. So them just saying, we got to remember to put the cage there, allowed for a future in which they could put a cage there.
Okay, so anything is possible.
If you think about it properly and
then this movie doesn't, then why not have everything in the movie happen right at the same time?
I mean, it does, but we don't have the ability to view time as a singular event at the same time.
Well, as a person that can't view everything happening at once, this was fucking stupid.
No, but I think it's there. It's laid out as best they can.
Right, and it's dumb. It's like it's done exactly like a Twilight Zone episode. It is presented as a twist. It is like these beings in the fifth dimension, in order for humanity to evolve in the fifth dimension. I know they see it the same, but for us looking at it, it rests entirely on Matthew McConaughey pushing stuff off of a bookshelf and moving dust so we can save humanity. So for the the fifth dimensional people, like whatever, but in order to get to the fifth dimensional people, mankind has to be saved.
Yeah, but they saved themselves, which is the same thing as Matthew McConaughey going back. That's the whole thing. It's a God, it's a flat circle. Not the flat circle, but it's a circle. It's So because it happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And that to me is that's bad storytelling to me.
Well, I mean, that's just a problem with dealing with time travel. But but it makes sense.
Fair enough. I'm just saying that's bad storytelling. That's me going like, there's always been a key in my hand, and then there's a key in my hand, and I can open up the door to save the world.
Well, if you're in a time travel movie, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's dumb. That's not interesting storytelling. That is me just going, I can fix whatever problem is put in front of me as long as I say, like you said, the Bill and Ted thing. But the Bill and Ted thing, that's played off as a joke in a light and breezy hour and a half thing.
This goes back to the you finding issue with the Dust Bowl stuff, where I think you're viewing this as oh shit, big surprise. We already know humanity was saved. I think that's why they did the Dust Bowl shit in the beginning.
Yeah, but I'm saying, no, but that was exactly my point, is that I knew humanity was saved. I didn't know that was Dust Bowl shit. I thought that was them talking about what was going on.
No, it is. No, forgive me for using the term Dust Bowl. They're using Dust Bowl clips to describe what happened in the movie.
Right.
They're describing the things that happened in 2230 or whatever the fuck. Yeah, okay. So, but...
That's what I was saying.
No, but what I'm saying is the movie isn't predicated on, oh shit, are we going to save humanity? It was how we saved humanity. In the same way as the time travel shit is, this is how it happened. It's not a big reveal. It's not a twist. It's just the description of how it happened. The only way for you to understand how it happened would be to follow the whole story.
I don't understand how you cannot see this as a twist. Like this is baffling to me.
But in the same, I get that. I'm not saying it's not a twist, but it's not a twist like in a Shyamalan twist. It
is absolutely. I was dead the whole time. It was me the whole time. Like that's the same shit.
No, but I mean the movie opens with "We saved humanity."
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not really a twist. We know he saves it.
That the others, which that's a whole thing throughout where they keep talking about like, oh no, they left it here.
Yeah.
Who? I don't know, somebody. Well, let's not really worry about it. Oh, I shook their hand. I'm Anne Hathaway, and we had this handshake. Yeah, it was them, I guess. I don't know. Let's keep going. Oh, it was Matthew McConaughey the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't seem very twisty. It just, that's what it was. I mean, I guess, I have no problem having the story told in reverse.
Okay, so... the Sixth Sense doesn't have a twist.
No, I mean, the Sixth Sense is a twist, but
but he's been dead the whole time. Like, that's just them explaining that he's been dead the whole time.
No, but it's not...
I don't understand your reasoning, is what I'm saying.
Because that movie works without him being dead the whole time. Bruce Willis could be just a psychologist in that movie.
So it could have been aliens the whole time.
Dude, fine, but it's not a twist. Like, they don't set it up as aliens. That's what they say. There's no reference point to. They didn't go the Zeta Reticuli.
But so the twist is that it's been us.
But I see again. I don't see it as twist. It's just the explanation.
This is maddening. All right, we got to stop.
Yeah, sorry,
We've been at this for 20 minutes. Like, I don't get this. I don't understand how you don't see that it's whether or not you think it's a twist.
Yeah.
It's presented as a twist.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Matthew McConaughey takes time to explain it to the audience because this whole time he's explaining everything he's doing to the audience.
No, I got you. Yeah.
But he's like, it wasn't them. It was us.
Yeah.
That's a reveal. That's what they call a reveal. Because it's a twist.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just, it just doesn't feel twisty in a
because
kind of Shyamalan Twilight Zone. That's just the mechanic of the movie. It's not like Primer where you go, oh, there's more than one operating at the same time. It's not a twist. It's just, it was explained earlier. This entire movie is about time travel. This entire movie is about dilation. Like,
is it because the whole thing at the beginning, you don't know what it is. You don't know that it's a ghost that's.
Oh, no, honestly, but I just, like, the whole movie is predicated on this whole, like, time thing, that time is an indifferent concept based on where you're viewing it from. Mm-hmm. And the movie opens with you're viewing it from after this movie's over and it's a historical document. So it's like, I shouldn't be saying it's not a twist. It's just, it's not a twist in a Shyamalan-y kind of twist. It's a twist in it's not even a twist. It's just that's the way the movie works. It's just.
I see. I think that's, I don't, okay. We're saying the same things over and over again. That's not an argument. That is like a twist in a movie is how a movie works.
Yeah.
Like Tyler Durden being Jack is a twist, but it's also how the movie works.
Yeah.
So what are you saying?
What? Because it wasn't set up earlier for that. If the entire if Fight Club, if one of the themes of Fight Club, instead of him going to cancer support groups, he went to multiple personality disorders support groups.
Uh-huh.
That happened. That's the kind of twist. Like this movie's based around time travel. This movie, like it's the only way the plot works on itself because that's
because it's nonsensical.
Well, it's not nonsensical. I think it works. Like the point of it is how the end is the beginning. Like, because literally, as we said, the beginning is this retro, like they said, oh, this is how we survived. This time sucked.
Yeah. As I'm like, oh, it was all predicated on him. Because when he's in there, doesn't remember any of this. Doesn't seem to recall having these conversations with Murph as a child. Because some time has passed.
Yeah.
So he's just reenacting everything, and he's just hoping it works. But then
but when he's in there, he hasn't had the conversation yet, is the thing. That's the whole thing with the time aspect.
What?
So when he's in the bookcase,
yes,
having the conversation with Murph, that we've already seen the results of, he hasn't had the conversation yet.
Then how did he get there?
Because we're watching it in the order of, that's what I'm saying, it's fifth dimensional, it hasn't happened. We're trying to think of things linearly.
All you're telling me is that you cannot make a movie in the fifth dimension.
No, I mean
you can't because if it hasn't already happened yet, but he got there through the series of events that led him here.
Yeah, but it hasn't happened yet.
Then then how did he get there?
Because we're imposing a linear concept.
Yes, because it's a movie. Because that's the way movies work. Movies just don't tell you everything all at once.
I believe I've seen Memento.
Yeah.
Also, the point is, so Keanu Reeves, he leaves the letters in the mailbox outside of the boathouse.
Yeah.
What do you not get about that?
Yeah, no, I get it.
And then they fall in love. It's 2 years later.
Fair enough, but I'm also fine with the explanation that he doesn't remember because it's been years. And that's not what he remembers is the ghost and all that and the specific stuff that he did in that point. But if you want to argue that, yeah, it's the fifth dimension and he doesn't even know how he got here, whatever.
Well, no, it just hasn't happened yet to him.
The him in the bookcase, it hasn't happened to.
Yeah, so when he's in the room with Murph and having this discussion with ghosts, the early part of the movie, he hasn't been in the bookcase yet.
Yes.
So that's why he doesn't remember it. So when he's in the bookcase, why would he remember it? It hasn't happened to him yet.
Because he got into the bookcase. So he's
Later.
always been in the bookcase.
No, but again, you're going with the linear thing.
Yes, okay, because it's a goddamn movie.
No, but I'm saying,
look, no, just shut up. Shut up. Shut up. How did he get in the bookcase?
He got sucked in through the wormhole.
How did he get to the wormhole?
He was directed there.
How?
From him in the bookcase later.
Right. So he knows that happened, right?
Well, he knows that a ghost was in the room, and he hasn't put it together that was him.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But him in the bookcase.
Yeah.
Doesn't remember anything that happened before.
No, I think he does. He just hasn't put it together that it's him in the bookcase. He realizes it when she starts writing shit down. He starts putting it together that he's the one in the bookcase.
Wait, what?
When he's in the bookcase looking out
Yes.
at the previous events, or previous as far as
Right.
we are for a movie, he realizes like, oh shit, I'm the guy in the bookcase.
Yes.
Yeah, so he remembers it. He just didn't put it together that
That's
that
what
was
I'm
him.
saying.
Yeah.
That he didn't put it together. That he clearly just doesn't remember being that. And you're arguing this whole circular thing that he can't possibly know because he's in the bookcase.
So you're saying, I think I just misunderstood your part. You're saying he doesn't remember being Murph's dad talking to her about the ghosts.
Yes.
No, he does remember. He just didn't put it together that that was him.
Fair enough. That's what I'm saying. You were making it sound like it was this whole existential thing where he's always been in the bookcase and time. I mean, because time's a flat circle and he's apparently a fifth dimensional man now.
Yeah, for the moment, yeah. Well, because he gets
Those are-
spit back out.
Right. But those are two different things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no. Okay. So
All I
right.
want.
So here's what just happened right there. There's an argument that, and people will make, is that when he was in Murph's room, when she was saying, Dad, there's a ghost in my wall. I thought you were saying, why does he not remember being the ghost when Murph is saying that to him? No, but if you think about time in a direct way, there is an argument that he should, because it is simultaneously time being a linear thing, which it isn't.
Right.
Which a lot of people, their argument with this movie was that, which is not good. Which that's what I thought you were going with. No, it's just, I think he just didn't put it together because he's in some weird fucking space library.
No, and that's-
he just went, I don't know what the fuck's happening right now. He literally just
That's
went,
fine.
all right, so he gets spit out, and this is the part where I think we're in 100% agreement
Yeah.
here. He wakes up on the Ark ship, and this little bit I like is like, that you're on the SS Cooper. Is it named after me? No, it's actually named after your daughter.
Yeah.
Fun. Your daughter's about to come here. You can hang out with her. I'm fine with this spit out. Mm-hmm. The second he walks into the fucking the hospital room, might be the most, like, it's like you read a book on how emotions work, and then you read the Idiot's Guide and then skipped the middle bit because
Right.
holy shit, was this a bad scene?
Well, because
I mean, no one showed up. I'm shocked this got into the final cut. Like,
this
this
whole thing,
sucked.
this whole thing is about reconnecting with his daughter, and her reconnecting with him.
Yeah.
There's so much of this undercurrent, and then they do, and she's like, "Hey, look at this guy." It's like someone that you worked with that you run into at the mall.
Yeah, it is, and this is the pacing thing, and it's, I get it because we're tired.
Yeah.
We've gone through a lot with this movie. We literally have delved into fifth dimensional physics. He got spit out. We had HAL 9000. He's a space baby now. Where the fuck just happened? But then don't have this scene. Because if
Yeah.
you can't do this right, you ruin a significant amount of this movie.
Yeah,
'Cause
and that's one of the reasons that I hate this movie.
yeah, I think if you cut the scene out, I think the scenes early with them make them a loving father-daughter. I think a lot of the love that happens to them when she's actually a little girl gets sucked away immediately when this last scene where it's like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, it was, because the one thing I liked, he goes, you told him I liked farming? She's like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I like that, because she's like, yeah, I'm fucking with you. And I'm like, oh, I could live with this. Let's have them hang out together.
Yeah.
Like, this would be cool. I want 15 minutes of this. Not just one room, but like, let's have him be on the space station. We'll do about 15 minutes. But no, it's 2.5.
Well, that's the whole thing. So he comes back, and they're like, "Oh no, you're on the space station. And look at that. And hey, here's your home that we sort of brought up here." And then he's like, "I hate this." And then
It's so
immediately, and then goes to see her because she's on space travel and she's old and it's not great for her to be in space travel, and she's apparently dying. And they see each other in this very like, "Oh hey, what's up? Yeah, not much. Hey, remember that one chick you were traveling with? Why don't you go see her?" Even though there's not really a good bond between you, other than that you've traveled together for a bit.
I just can't. Here's one thing I can disagree with there is, and I'm not saying this is written in the movie, but I have like, just because I really liked a large section of this movie, is technically like he's like a fucking Neanderthal.
Yeah.
And the only other one left is Dr. Brand out in fucking Weirdsville planet.
Fair enough, but
No, no, it's not there.
because it didn't present it like that.
No, of course
he's,
it didn't, but,
He's
like-
just as welcome as anyone else. But like that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden like they have like giant brains like Star Trek villains. or
Well,
something
I wasn't
like
going that far. It's not the menagerie.
Yeah.
But that's why this last bit is, I don't think they needed it, because here's a few things that could have gone better. One, he hasn't seen Murph for the time he's been awake, about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Because, she's aged a lot, but he's done hypersleep. It's about 2.5 weeks of his awake time. How about you deal with that?
Yeah.
Deal with, my 7-year-old is dying of old age. No, we don't did that.
And that, I completely fucked your life by abandoning you. You've been haunted by me your whole damn life. But then you use that to save me, and hey, what's up?
Yeah, or at least let him realize that, because it's not like, I mean, literally, it's been 2.5 weeks. Psychologically, I don't think you can take in, I fucked up 60 years of this woman's life in 2.5 weeks. I think that's a hard thing to try to fucking take. So deal with that, or don't write the fucking scene at all. Have him come back. I actually don't mind him going after Brand, but like in a better form of the writing, where it's like, this is the only person I can fucking communicate with. Like, this is some lonely lady on the other side of the galaxy. I've got nothing left. Let me fucking hop this fucking space flyer. I'll go visit her. I'd be all right with that, but they didn't do that. They just did this weird. Yeah, it was fucking awkward.
The problem is it's a little bit like thinking about last week's episode with Spider-Man, or a couple episodes ago with Spider-Man. Is that so? He's like, mankind's got to explore. Mankind's got to explore. Starts exploring. He's like, I hate this. I got to be home with my family. I miss my family. He gets back home with his family. He's like, I got to explore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy's kind of an asshole, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't think it's written as asshole, but like it kind of reads that way because it's just this. They didn't spend enough time, and that's what sucks about the pacing of this film is that first act should have been longer. The middle bit, which weirdly enough, the stuff I like, I think needs to be shorter, and then the end needs to be longer.
It needs to be. It needs the middle act needs to be shorter and more majestic, and less people people talking at you. Like, let me experience space. Stop telling me about space.
Yeah.
Like, give me the important stuff. Like, you don't want it to be too much like Star Trek. You know, you're seeing the ship flying through space, whatever. But like, give me the important stuff. But just stop talking at me. Stop talking at me and doing all the expository stuff over this just pummeling soundtrack that's telling me exactly how to feel in every single scene. And just tie it up better. I felt so insulted by this movie.
So overall, and I think this comes with Nolan. I don't know if he carries an editor with him or he switches per movie. This movie reeks to me, and I use this excuse a lot, but I think this one is a fucking prime example of just bad editing. Like it just, or maybe these scenes weren't shot, but it seems to me that this movie probably had 40 minutes cut. It's just, it has that feel of like, this was a very long movie.
Oh, without a doubt. But I mean, I think the problem goes all the way down to the script level, and particularly like after the fact, having like some of my problems with Westworld that we've talked about before. Same problems with this, where it's like so much that is Jonathan Nolan. Where it's just
do you think you could cut that? Like, do you think, because you know that's like you've seen like the Phantom cut where they make the like it seems to me like if you got the raw footage of this movie, because it's beautiful. Like I love the look, I love a lot of the scenes. Like it just, could this be recut, or is it so fundamentally a script problem? Because there is a scripting problem in that it literally, like the first bit of the first act and the last bit of the third act is just not functional.
Yeah, but I think that's, I mean, script-wise, that's completely not functional. Like it's the whole their meeting just doesn't work. Like after, like it's supposed to be, it should like culminate with that, and it doesn't. It's just this like, it's like a politician thanking a donor is what it felt like. Just this like, hey, thanks for, it's like this lady won a Make-A-Wish thing. Yeah. And Matthew McConaughey is like a member of One Direction, and he's like, hey, thanks.
But I mean,
feel better soon. Gotta go.
But let's say they film that and it's I mean, it's 2.5 minutes now. Let's say it's 5 minutes, which is significant screen time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird because it's like, again, it feels like this is. I would like to have read the original script. I would like to like see like the notes you take of what got filmed. I'd like to see everything that got filmed and written down. I'd like to see the log notes. Yeah, I want to see the log notes and I want to see the original script and go, is the movie, because I read this movie well and I like this movie, but is there a better cut in here? Because I feel like there's got to be a better cut in here because it's just bloated center and also weirdly, how could you get a bad performance out of Michael Caine? Which that throws me off. I still can't get around that.
Jaws 4, they managed to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, he showed up knowing he's in Jaws 4.
Yeah.
That one, he gets a pass.
Like Jaws 4 better than this. I will say that.
Oh, I mean,
I am being absolutely facetious. I just
I don't even know I could. Okay, so anyway, blah blah blah. That's the end.
Turns out Michael Caine was the shark the whole time,
which would be a twist.
Yes, which it is.
Well, I mean, John, I think in-depth discussion of time travel and space and
What twists
relativity,
are?
physics, what twists are. I think nothing would follow that up better than exploding penguins.
I think that sounds good. Yeah, I think that sounds just right.
All right, good. So we're going to watch that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he goes to Penguin Stadium.
Excellent.
No,
What one is that? That is
it's a
close call.
hard times,
No.
hard call,
Uh,
hard target.
isn't it a hockey term?
Oh, is it?
Like
Overtime?
too many men on the ice.
Yeah, who gives a shit? Anyway, we're watching Batman Returns. The 1992 classic starring the guy from Always Sunny
Sudden
in
Death.
Philadelphia. Sudden Death.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are we watching?
Batman Returns.
Oh, okay.
Starring the guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the guy from Birdman, Lando Calrissian, and
The lady from Mother.
that's all I can remember. The lady from Mother.
Michelle Pfeiffer is also in.
Oh,
Mother.
fuck. I forgot. No, I forgot Michelle Pfeiffer was in Mother.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure like Jennifer Lawrence
No,
wasn't
but when you say the
alive
lady
yet.
from Mother
Yeah,
makes
no,
sense, but
no,
yeah.
you're right. But I totally forgot she existed in that movie.
Wait, and where's Lando?
Isn't he, isn't
I think he has a bit part, but
no,
you also
he's the one that, whatever Two-Face's real name is.
Harvey Dent.
Doesn't he play Harvey Dent in the first or the second movie?
He does in Batman '89. I don't know if, but Christopher Walken, which was actually this was the first movie I ever saw Christopher Walken in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that I can think of. I mean, maybe when I saw something when I was younger, but this is the first one that I was like, oh, it's this guy.
Were those ones that he plays a witch before this? Because I used to watch those.
I have
The
no idea
Prophecy?
No, those were way later.
Oh, okay.
Those
All
were
right.
those were like '99.
Oh, anyway. So,
And he's not a witch; he's an angel.
or whatever. He was a thing. He did stuff.
That's true. That can be said about most of his roles.
Yeah. Big twist. All right. So we're watching Batman
How
Returns.
dare you?
All right. Rate, review, blah, blah, blah. No one's listening to this anymore.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.